Ezra.
Oh,
Ezra.
don't go there.
So, yeah, a warm welcome, and remember to leave your mobile phones turned on. Ezra.
Thank you very much. So when Michael first talked about this gig, I kind of thought, I'll speak about, some of the local Avalonians and some of the legends, but what we were thinking is there'd be a lot of people from out of town, from the conference and so on, so I'm a bit worried you might all know these stories already, but then I'm constantly surprised, that people don't know them. So who knows the story of the Blue Bowl? I'm sure most of you know the Blue Bowl, come on.
No.
Oh, well, that's better still, no one knows. But, so I was thinking, what am I going to talk about? The Avalonians, right, but I was struggling to think how to thread the whole thing together, and suddenly it came to me. A voice in my head said, the theme is channeling! Because I realised that all these different characters had channeled in some way, and not only had their channels changed their lives, but they kind of affected the way as the town is today, or in some cases anyway. So before we go on to the Avalonians, I want to just talk a bit, put things in context of channeling. Who knows the story of the Fox sisters?
Nope.
This is how spiritualism began. And I just love telling this story anyway. These are the Fox sisters, and I can't remember where it was. They lived in a big spooky house in America somewhere. And it was reputed to be haunted anyway. And these little minxes, what they did was they, played their parents up by pretending, faking ghosts. Well, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But anyway, there was a lot of rapping going on, and they reckon they used to drag apples across the floor on bits of string and things to make it sound like stuff was moving around. And they worked out a system where they could ask questions, and it was 1 rap for yes, 2 for no, and all kinds of people got involved. And it became kind of a media sensation. And next, what the little minxes did was they started going on about there's been a murder in this house, we know it. And they spoke, of course, to the poor murdered spirit, and blamed this poor, totally innocent chap in the village who almost got lynched, by the locals. Outrageous, because you know what young girls are like, well, boys and girls, but especially girls, they have no conscience.
Yes, I can testify for that. Where and when was this?
Oh, well, it was in the 1850s in America, but I can't remember where it was, terribly sorry. Missouri or somewhere like that, So anyway, it became a media sensation. There were reporters turning up, and these, the family had to hide these sisters away because education was getting disrupted. So they sent them off to stay with relatives who happened to be Quakers. And Quakers in that time was quite an underground sort of movement, active politically as well. It was all about political reform and, health, vegetarianism, all that kind of stuff. And they stayed with these Quakers, and the whole thing just took off, Then they started doing it in the local Quaker church. And next thing, it was like a sensation. It was just like the latest craze in America. You know what these Americans are like. One of them does something and they all want to do it, don't they? So next thing, there's mediums springing up everywhere in America, which is great. But, show business being show business, these girls go off and get involved in, they toured the world, They came to London and did demonstrations. And everywhere they went, people started, channeling or seancing or whatever you want to call it. It just started a worldwide craze, really. And nothing's ever been the same since, in a way. But neither were they, because then, in show business, they got into drink. They got into the old drink, and they fell out, and at some point, they fell out and argued, and in the end, 2 of them appeared in a huge public, high-profile event, and basically revealed that they faked the whole thing all along, and they showed how they'd done it. They trained their joints from an early age to make cracking noises, and it sounds incredible, doesn't it, to think that you could fool people on such a scale where just by cracking your toes in big halls and things, but that's what they reckoned, I mean, spiritualists, of course, don't have it. Oh no, that it was a confession that was fake, and it was because the reporter offered them $1,500 or something, but I don't know, they were making good money anyway, so you can make your own mind up about that anyway. I mean, in the end, what they did was they even bought the house, the Spiritualist Society in America, sawed it up, moved it in places. They've got it somewhere else now in a big sort of spiritual theme park, you know. You go around on the ghost train and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how spiritualism started, and it sort of spread pretty quickly across the world. Now, everyone knows who that is, right? That's Lady Blavatsky, founder of the Theosophical Society. What was that, 1880 something, was it, or 70 something? I wrote a load of dates down because I'm terrible with dates, so you'll have to forgive me. You can look them up later, because I wrote a load down on a bit of paper, but my writings are pretty illegible. So it was the late 18th century, anyway, that Madame Blavatsky started the Theosophical Society.
Yeah, a camera still be able to read it.
There you go.
Doctor's own writing.
That's the seal of the Theosophical Society. It's quite interesting. There is no religion higher than truth. Nice little swastika up there and an om.
Yeah.
What's going on in there?
Well,
Coloured.
actually, it doesn't really matter because I think it's fine either way, actually.
Like an upside down cross.
No,
Or an upside down cross is
the cross upside down's
symbol
fine,
of
I
something,
think.
and then
No, what's the upside down cross? It's for a particular saint, isn't it? Yeah, it's not, there's nothing sinister in it anyway. You know, not by implication. So,
And there's no time.
So yeah, the Theosophical Society it took off. It took off and really triggered a whole occult revival across Europe. They were interested in Eastern religion, Buddhism, yoga and meditation, but also mystical Christianity, and really looking at every culture and comparing their knowledge and looking for the commonalities between them. So really you can see that what they were really looking forward to was the New Age. The prophecies of the New Age had always been coming together of religions, reuniting. So all the different factions would come together, back together. What do they call it? Restoring the temple, don't they? It's the great work, basically, in masonry and so on. It's restoring the temple, which can only happen at the right time, you know. So that's what they're working towards, is beginning that work, because they're already looking forward to this time now, the age of Aquarius. I think we can all feel the changes coming on now.